Hey everyone! Welcome back to another episode of Consistency is the Key to Success. I'm your host, Alex, and today we have a special guest who's going to help us dive deep into the power of consistency. Please welcome Jamie.
Hey Alex, thanks for having me. I'm really looking forward to our chat today.
Same here, Jamie. This topic is so important, and I think our listeners are going to get a lot out of it. So, before we get into all the nitty-gritty details, why don't you tell us a bit about yourself and your background?
Sure. Well, I'm Jamie, and I've been in the entrepreneurial game for about 12 years now. I've worked in a variety of fields, from tech startups to e-commerce. Throughout my journey, one thing has remained constant: my belief in the power of consistency.
That's fantastic. So, Jamie, when we talk about consistency, what does it mean to you in the context of your career and personal growth?
For me, consistency is all about showing up every day, putting in the effort, and staying committed to your goals. It's not just about big dramatic actions, but the small daily habits that add up over time. Whether it's in business, personal development, or even health, being consistent has been a game changer for me.
That makes a lot of sense. Do you remember a particular moment or experience where you really saw the impact of consistency?
Oh, definitely. One that stands out is my experience with my first startup. It was a subscription box service called Glowbox. In the beginning, it was tough. There were times when I felt like giving up. But I stuck with it, kept improving our product, and consistently reached out to potential partners. Slowly but surely, we started seeing growth. It wasn't overnight, but that consistent effort paid off.
That's amazing. It's really inspiring to hear that kind of story. So, let's break it down a bit. What were some of the consistent actions you took that made the biggest difference for Glowbox?
Sure. One major thing was maintaining a regular schedule for our marketing efforts. We consistently posted on social media, engaged with our customers, and collaborated with influencers. Another key was consistently seeking feedback and making improvements based on that feedback. We made sure to stay connected with our customers and always looked for ways to enhance their experience.
That's great. It's those consistent small actions that really build up over time. Can you share some practical tips for our listeners on how they can build consistency in their own lives?
Absolutely. First, I'd say start small. Choose one or two habits that are easy to integrate into your daily routine. For example, if you're looking to improve your health, start with a daily walk or drinking more water. Second, track your progress. Whether it's a journal, an app, or just a checklist, seeing your progress can be incredibly motivating. And third, be patient. Consistency isn't about perfection, it's about persistence.
Those are really practical tips. I especially like the idea of tracking progress. It's a great way to stay motivated. Do you have any personal anecdotes about how tracking your progress has helped you stay consistent?
Oh, definitely. When I was working on my second venture, a project management tool for creative teams, I set a goal to write a blog post every week to build our content marketing. At first, it was tough to keep up, but I used a simple spreadsheet to track my topics, drafts, and publication dates. Seeing that visual representation of my progress kept me accountable and motivated. Over time, it became a habit, and our blog started gaining traction, which helped our overall marketing strategy.
That's awesome. It's amazing how those little habits can really add up. So Jamie, let's talk about the flip side. What are some common pitfalls or challenges people face when trying to be consistent, and how can they overcome them?
Great question. One major challenge is losing motivation, especially when you don't see immediate results. It's easy to get discouraged and give up. To overcome this, I recommend focusing on the process rather than the outcome. Celebrate small wins and remind yourself why you started. Another pitfall is trying to do too much at once. It's important to pace yourself and build habits gradually. Finally, life happens. There will be days when you miss the mark. Instead of beating yourself up, just get back on track the next day.
That's really valuable advice. It's so important to be kind to yourself and stay focused on the bigger picture. Do you have any stories about times when you faced setbacks and how you bounced back?
Oh, plenty. One that comes to mind is when I was launching a new product line for Glowbox. We had everything planned out, but a key supplier fell through at the last minute. It was a huge setback, and I was really frustrated. But instead of panicking, I took a step back, reassessed our options, and reached out to alternative suppliers. It took a bit longer than we hoped, but we managed to launch successfully. The key was staying consistent in our efforts and not letting the setback derail us completely.
That's a great example of resilience and consistency in action. It's all about finding a way forward, even when things don't go as planned. So, Jamie, do you have any final thoughts or messages for our listeners about the importance of consistency?
I'd say, remember that consistency is your best friend when it comes to achieving your goals. It's not about being perfect every single day, but about showing up and putting in the effort consistently over time. Small, consistent actions can lead to big results. And don't forget to enjoy the journey. Celebrate your progress and keep pushing forward.
So, let's explore the concept of consistency in different areas of life. We've talked a lot about business, but how does consistency play a role in personal growth and development?
That's a great question. Consistency is just as crucial in personal growth as it is in business. Whether you're working on developing a new skill, building healthier habits, or improving your relationships, consistent effort is key. For example, if you want to learn a new language, practicing a little bit every day is much more effective than cramming once a week.
Absolutely. It's those daily practices that make a big difference. Do you have any personal routines or habits that you found particularly beneficial?
Definitely. One habit that's been a game changer for me is journaling. I take a few minutes every morning to jot down my thoughts, goals, and reflections. It helps me stay focused and track my progress. Another one is reading. I make it a point to read for at least 20 minutes every day. It's a small commitment, but over time, it's helped me gain a lot of knowledge and new perspectives.
Those are great habits. Journaling, especially, seems like a powerful tool for self-reflection and growth. Have you noticed any specific changes in yourself since you started these routines?
Oh, definitely. Journaling has helped me become more self-aware and intentional about my actions. It's also a great way to clear my mind and start the day with a positive mindset. As for reading, it's broadened my horizons and improved my ability to think critically and creatively. Both habits have had a profound impact on my personal and professional life.
That's really inspiring. It's amazing how small, consistent actions can lead to such significant changes. So, Jamie, let's talk about another area where consistency is key: health and fitness. How do you approach staying consistent with your health goals?
Health and fitness are definitely areas where consistency is crucial. For me, it's all about creating a routine that's sustainable and enjoyable. I mix things up to keep it interesting, like alternating between running, yoga, and strength training. And I make sure to set realistic goals. Instead of aiming for a drastic transformation in a short time, I focus on gradual improvements.
That's a smart approach. It's so important to find a routine that you enjoy and can stick with long term. Do you have any tips for listeners who might be struggling to stay consistent with their health and fitness goals?
Absolutely. First, find an activity that you genuinely enjoy. It's much easier to stay consistent if you're having fun. Second, schedule your workouts like any other important appointment. Consistency often comes down to making it a non-negotiable part of your day. And third, be kind to yourself. There will be days when you miss a workout or indulge a little too much. That's okay. What matters is getting back on track and not letting a slip-up derail your progress.
Great tips, Jamie. It's all about making health and fitness a part of your lifestyle rather than a temporary goal. Now, let's switch gears a bit. We've talked about business, personal growth, and health. How does consistency play a role in maintaining and building relationships?
Relationships are another area where consistency is incredibly important. Whether it's with family, friends, or a partner, consistent effort is key to building trust and deepening connections. Simple things like regular check-ins, making time for each other, and being reliable can make a huge difference. It's about showing up and being present consistently.
That's so true. It's those little, consistent actions that build strong relationships. Do you have any personal anecdotes or tips on how to maintain consistency in relationships?
Definitely. One thing I've found helpful is setting aside dedicated time for the important people in my life. For example, my partner and I have a weekly date night where we disconnect from work and just enjoy each other's company. With friends and family, I make it a point to regularly check in, even if it's just a quick call or message. It's those consistent efforts that keep relationships strong.
That's wonderful. It's so important to make time for the people who matter most. Jamie, you've shared so many valuable insights today. Do you have any thoughts for our listeners about the power of consistency?
Just remember that consistency is about progress, not perfection. It's those small daily actions that add up over time and lead to big results. Stay patient, stay persistent, and don't be afraid to celebrate your progress along the way. And most importantly, enjoy the journey. Consistency isn't just a path to success, it's a way to build a fulfilling and meaningful life.
We've had an amazing conversation with Jamie about the power of consistency, and now we're opening up the floor to some listener questions. Jamie, are you ready to dive into some Q&A?
Absolutely, Alex. Let's do it.
Awesome. Our first question comes from Sarah in New York. She asks, what's the best way to stay consistent when you're juggling multiple responsibilities?
That's a great question, Sarah. Juggling multiple responsibilities can be challenging, but it's definitely possible to stay consistent. The key is to prioritize and manage your time effectively. Start by identifying your most important tasks and focus on those first. Use tools like calendars and to-do lists to keep track of everything. And don't be afraid to delegate or ask for help when needed. Consistency doesn't mean doing everything yourself. It's about making steady progress on your priorities.
Great advice. It's all about finding a balance and being strategic with your time. Our next question is from Mark in Los Angeles. He asks, how do you stay motivated to be consistent, especially when you're not seeing immediate results?
That's a common challenge, Mark. Staying motivated can be tough when you're not seeing immediate results. One thing that helps me is focusing on the process rather than the outcome. Celebrate the small wins and milestones along the way. Another tip is to remind yourself why you started in the first place. Keeping your end goal in mind can be a powerful motivator. And sometimes it's about finding external motivation, whether it's a support group, a mentor, or even just sharing your journey with friends and family.
Excellent points. It's so important to stay connected to your purpose and celebrate the journey. Our next question comes from Lisa in Chicago. She asks, can you share some tips for staying consistent with healthy eating and exercise?
Of course, Lisa. When it comes to healthy eating, planning ahead is key. Meal prep can save you time and help you make healthier choices throughout the week. Keep healthy snacks on hand to avoid the temptation of junk food. For exercise, find activities you enjoy and mix things up to keep it interesting. Set realistic goals and track your progress. And don't forget to be kind to yourself. Consistency is about making steady progress, not being perfect every day.
Great tips, Jamie. It's all about making it manageable and enjoyable. Our final question for today is from David in Miami. He asks, how do you deal with setbacks and get back on track?
Setbacks are a natural part of any journey, David. The key is not to let them derail you completely. When you face a setback, take a moment to reflect on what happened and what you can learn from it. Then, make a plan to get back on track. Sometimes it's helpful to break your goals down into smaller, more manageable steps. And remember, it's okay to ask for help or seek support when you need it. The most important thing is to keep moving forward, even if it's just one small step at a time.
That's excellent advice. Setbacks are part of the process, and it's all about how you respond to them. Jamie, thank you so much for answering these questions and sharing your insights with us today. So let's talk about some specific strategies and tools that can help people stay consistent. Are there any particular tools or apps that you found helpful in your own journey?
Definitely. One tool that I swear by is Trello. It's fantastic for project management and keeping track of tasks. You can create boards for different projects, set deadlines, and move tasks around as you make progress. Another app I love is Habitica. It's a habit-building app that gamifies your goals, making it fun to stay consistent. You earn points and rewards for completing tasks, which adds a bit of extra motivation.
Those sound like great tools. I've heard a lot about Trello, but haven't tried Habitica. I'll definitely have to check it out. Are there any other tools or strategies you'd recommend?
Yes, another tool I use is Google Calendar. It's simple but effective for scheduling and time management. I also use a productivity technique called the Pomodoro technique. It involves working in focused intervals, usually 25 minutes, followed by a short break. It helps me stay focused and maintain consistency throughout the day. And for those who prefer a physical approach, a good old-fashioned planner or journal can be incredibly helpful.
I love the Pomodoro technique. It's amazing how those focused intervals can boost productivity. So, Jamie, let's talk about mindset. How important is mindset when it comes to staying consistent, and what mindset shifts have helped you the most?
Mindset is absolutely crucial. One of the biggest mindset shifts that helped me was viewing consistency as a journey rather than a destination. It's about making progress every day, even if it's just a little bit. Another important shift was learning to embrace failure and setbacks as part of the process. Instead of seeing them as roadblocks, I started viewing them as opportunities to learn and grow. And finally, cultivating a growth mindset, believing that abilities and intelligence can be developed through effort and persistence, has been a game changer.
Those are powerful mindset shifts. Viewing consistency as a journey and embracing a growth mindset can make a huge difference. Do you have any tips for listeners on how they can develop a growth mindset?
Absolutely. One tip is to focus on the process rather than the outcome. Celebrate your efforts and the progress you're making rather than just the end result. Another tip is to practice self-compassion. Be kind to yourself and recognize that growth takes time and effort. Surround yourself with positive influences, people who encourage and support your growth. And finally, keep learning. Whether it's through books, podcasts, or courses, continuous learning helps reinforce the idea that growth is always possible.
Great tips, Jamie. It's all about embracing the journey and being patient with yourself. Do you have any thoughts for our listeners about the importance of consistency?
Just remember that consistency is your best friend when it comes to achieving your goals. It's not about being perfect every single day, but about showing up and putting in the effort consistently over time. Small, consistent actions can lead to big results. And don't forget to enjoy the journey. Celebrate your progress and keep pushing forward.
Now we're going to share some real-life stories of consistency from our listeners. Jamie is still here with us to discuss these inspiring stories. Jamie, are you ready to hear some amazing tales of consistency?
Absolutely, Alex. I love hearing real-life stories. They're so motivating.
Great. Our first story comes from Emma in Boston. She writes, "I struggled with my weight for years and tried every diet under the sun. Nothing seemed to stick until I decided to focus on small, consistent changes. I started by walking for 20 minutes every day and gradually increased it. I also made one healthy change to my diet each week. Over the past year, I've lost 50 pounds and feel healthier and happier than ever. Consistency truly is the key."
Wow, that's incredible, Emma. It's amazing how those small, consistent changes can lead to such significant results. And what's great is that it sounds like you've built habits that are sustainable in the long run.
Absolutely. It's a fantastic example of how consistency can lead to lasting change. Our next story comes from Mike in San Francisco. He writes, "I wanted to start my own business, but kept getting overwhelmed by the idea of everything I had to do. I decided to break it down and focus on one small task each day. Whether it was researching, networking, or working on my business plan, I made sure to do something every day. After a year of consistent effort, I finally launched my business. It's still early days, but I'm proud of how far I've come."
That's awesome, Mike. Breaking down a big goal into small, manageable tasks is such a smart approach. It makes the process less overwhelming and helps you stay consistent. Congratulations on launching your business.
Yes, congrats, Mike. It's all about taking those small steps consistently. Our final story for today comes from Rachel in Dallas. She writes, I used to struggle with procrastination and found it hard to stay focused on my studies. I decided to try the Pomodoro technique, working in short, focused intervals. It made a huge difference. I stayed consistent with it and saw my grades improve significantly. It's now my go-to study method.
That's fantastic, Rachel. The Pomodoro technique is such a great tool for staying focused and productive. It's amazing to hear how it helped you overcome procrastination and improve your grades. Consistency in your study habits clearly paid off.
Absolutely. It's a great example of how consistent effort can lead to better results. Thank you to Emma, Mike, and Rachel for sharing your inspiring stories with us.
Yes, thank you for sharing. Your stories are a testament to the power of consistency. Keep up the great work.
Well, Jamie, it's been an incredible series of discussions today. We're wrapping up our deep dive into consistency with some final reflections and takeaways. Jamie, it's been an incredible journey discussing the power of consistency with you. Any final thoughts to share?
Thanks, Alex. It's been fantastic. My final thought would be to remind everyone that consistency is about progress, not perfection. It's the small daily actions that build up over time and lead to big changes. Stay patient, stay committed, and celebrate your progress along the way.
Beautifully said, Jamie. Consistency truly is the key to success in all areas of life. Thank you so much for sharing your insights and experiences with us today.
Thanks, Alex. It's been a pleasure. And to all the listeners out there, keep going, stay consistent, and you'll achieve amazing things.
That's it for this final segment of Consistency is the Key to Success. If you enjoyed our conversation, make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your friends. And as always, keep showing up, stay consistent, and we'll see you next time.